Soccer ball to my face? That does sound deadly. I should be more careful.
Final Destination is definitely unique. Not only do we get a brand new movie out of complete nowhere after a decade hiatus, but the new movie debatably, or in my opinion factually, is the second best. Given it took 5 movies to get a good movie, I wouldn't call it the biggest achievement, and I'll tell you, it's by no means perfection. You'd never guess that based on the reputation. Highest rated movie in the franchise, not a box office failure, that's saying a lot this year, but despite being real fun and enjoyable throughout, a lot of significant issues still plague this movie. I'm not looking for it to make sense, but some ideas are just ridiculous. Things happen that don't really fit in with any of the past movies' logic. And what starts out as what I would call welcome references kind of turns into blatant imitations without very much difference. If you've seen it, you know what I mean, but that being said, I know why it has the highest rating. It's cinematically fun and has a lot of scenes that are gonna stand out, and for a movie about elaborate deaths, I wouldn't say they disappoint. It also brings back Tony Todd for his final role, that is a plus, and the premise of death going after multiple families' bloodlines, opposed to a single group, is an actual new idea. An idea that doesn't really affect that much, you still mainly focus on your single group trying to survive, and the bloodline gimmick seems to only be there to make the intro more unique. It does lead to a few twists in the movie, but they're not really good twists, and I'll get to why that is later. But if you think this is the film that redefines the franchise and ultimately saves it, well, maybe it is. We could get more movies, but it only comes down to what it made. I think the reviews heavily overrate this, but it's the movie you voted to see, so you'll get my opinion. This is Final Destination Bloodlines. I bet that track is relevant. Bad Moon Rising playing on the radio, followed by Ring of Fire. The outcome couldn't be more obvious. I mean, it is a sky tower in a Final Destination movie, and that gives it away. Opening in 1969 are a couple here. Iris and Paul, played by Brec Bassinger and Max Lloyd-Jones, are about to become a family as she's pregnant, and Paul is overly ecstatic. And I will say, even though we know what's coming, this is easily the best intro. A lot of subtle hints leading up to the disaster, like the food cracking, a number of elements such as the penny getting stuck in the vent. So the combination of that, the great build-up, the band playing leading up to it, makes it one of the best Final Destination scenes. Yeah, when it finally happens, it is a bit over the top. Some of these deaths are ridiculous, but that's okay. And aside from maybe the 5th movie, no other intro comes close to this. Problem is, I don't want to say all downhill from here, but it does peak at the intro. I love the piano falling on the kid who threw the penny. The scene is full of great ideas. I should mention Iris was almost the sole survivor, but she tries to save some kid, and that spells both their ends. We then see it was her granddaughter Stefani Reyes having a nightmare about this, played by Kaitlyn Joanna, obviously not the same formula, and given the effect these nightmares have on the plot, literally happening every night, threatening to make her fail college, you'd think they'd be a bit more explained. There are a few theories, but they're just theories, so I guess death wants a challenge. Upon finding out her grandmother went completely insane and nearly ruined their parents' lives, she decides to seek Iris out to her fortified home, and yeah, that's really stupid. I'm not going to pretend we've had more than one good movie up until now, but part 2 is still watchable, and understood the only way you could truly be safe is if you requested to be in a padded room. Well, not really. There could be a plane crash or a natural disaster. I don't think death is beyond innocent casualties. In fact, I know he isn't, but I can look past that. I can't look past the idea that she somehow outsmarted death by simply learning and somehow survives in this fortified house. I mean, you're really telling me she could be that vigilant? It's hard to believe.
Hey, the kid's a wise ass.
So I guess death just gave up and gave her cancer instead. So that was all for nothing.
Maybe my cancer passed my premonition on to you. Maybe it's fate's demented sense of humor. Who the hell knows?
Yes, it was the cancer that gave her the recurring dream, because why wouldn't it be? Unlike any other movie, she actually saved everybody that night, not just her friends, and that's where the new ideas basically end. Yeah, I get it. Bloodlines, death had to kill everybody who survived that day, and before it could, they had families, so they have to die too, but the movie hardly focuses on that. It's still the same thing, an in-your-face bad predicament that nobody will accept until the plot needs it. And the fact is, the previous movie had a superior concept, introducing the idea of killing somebody to regain whatever life they had left. Yeah, this movie will eventually bring that up, along with other past ideas, but the main gimmick being bloodlines doesn't have a big effect from this point on. The plot will still be a group of friends hunted by death because nobody else is left. Like I said, there is one thing to make it slightly different, we'll get to that. It's not handled correctly in my opinion. And even Stefani cannot avoid plot ignorance, so she must demonstrate. Well, this is not 3D. This does get the point across for her, but as you know, seeing is believing, and the rest of the family are gonna need 2 more examples. Well, 2.5 technically, but whatever. Problem is, nobody gets along, such as her brother Charlie, played by Teo Briones, and her mother Darlene, played by Real Kalstad. The various reasons for them not getting along range from forced to nonsensical. Charlie is mad because Stefani doesn't call enough and compares her to her mother. I guess I could accept that, though it is a bit much.
You're not crazy. You just don't care.
Don't know if it warranted that. But Stefani being mad at Darlene for leaving doesn't really make any sense because it was caused by what she now believes in. Not saying it justifies leaving, but you'd think you'd want to talk about that. Luckily, Richard Harmon as Eric is easily the best thing about the movie, and that's undisputed. Like almost anything he's in, it's the best part.
I'm sure he'd love to be in the living room right now.
And stay away from these kids.
I'll take my chances.
This truck right here, but it's such a
Beautiful truck.
He was just oddly charismatic, and you know that. Well, I mean...
No.
No, of course not. Of course
We
not.
wouldn't do that.
No,
right?
we would never.
Don't touch those babies.
That's fantastic.
Without him, it'd be a lot less good. His younger brother and sister, Bobby and Julie, played by Owen Joyner and Anna Lore, are more so there. As we know, the body count is needed. And speaking of the body count, their dad Howard, played by Alex Zara, is going to get that moving up. This is a pretty good scene that was obviously advertised a lot, and for good reason. There's a lot of possibilities, a number of expectations, almost drinking glass, the rake, the barbecue. In the end, it's the lawnmower that does him in. That being said, the glass does contribute, and I think it would be a high-ranking death. You know, on my death ranking video. But that being said, nothing else in the movie is quite as good. Kind of like how the opening scene is the best part, Howard is given the best death. Like I said, 2 deaths are not enough, we need a 3rd. I kind of wish somebody did believe her. I mean, it'd be a refreshing change. Even her mom doesn't in this scene, despite that being the reason she left. But having them not get along a bit longer is imperative.
Thank you so much for that advice, but I really don't need a mom anymore.
Eric being the oldest, he is next to die. And we get the scene that I would hope a lot of people, but me definitely, called bullshit on. It's the first clip we saw from the movie, Eric supposedly burned to death at the tattoo shop, but despite the trailer showing him burn up, I was pretty confident he'd get out of it. Because why would you show us a main character dying that early? One of the more notable main characters, spoiler, his jacket saves him. It would have honestly been a high-ranking death if he did die. It is a great scene, the music definitely elevates it. It's a bit ridiculous given the overall design, having a fan that close to those chains. There would have been an accident sooner, but the question is, since he lives, how does this happen? Obviously death still made it happen. The chain hooks right to his nose ring is way too convenient, and as I've been hinting at, the answer is not satisfying. More on that in a minute. First you can hit the like button and subscribe down below. Remember, the gaming channel is an option too. It has the same content with games. Link in the description. So after Eric almost dies again because the trailer really wanted to push that, Stefani explains how exactly Eric could die, a set of elaborate events, but instead this happens to Julie. It is a unique kind of death we haven't seen yet. I wish it wasn't quite as close up due to it not looking the best, but I think it's kind of unneeded that she predicted exactly how it would happen. I get that she studied everything, but why would she have every detail like that? Also, you may be wondering why is Julie dead and not Eric, and it's because he was adopted. And on one hand, the scene is hilarious.
Shit.
Jerry fucking Benbury?
You don't know where we're going.
Is this why you always wanted to play catch?
Oh.
But then you have to go back to why did he almost burn up, and the movie does not give a reason. An explanation was eventually given, being it was a warning, but I don't buy that. Since when does that kind of thing happen? Warning somebody who doesn't even believe it by almost killing them? I think it's more likely they needed something for an early clip, but they didn't really want to give away someone's death. Then the issue got brought up, and they needed an answer. I can't guarantee that, but I just don't believe in explaining away a plot hole after the movie came out.
It's easy.
Anybody can do that, and sadly the issues with Eric, the best character in the movie, don't completely end here. But on the bright side, this is what I meant by 2.5 deaths.
Should have believed you, Steph.
Yes, now they believe it. Well, most of them do. For some reason Marty still doesn't. I don't know why. Perhaps the 4th death would be the magic number? But luckily a man Iris knew may have some answers. On the way there, Iris and Darlene make up. It definitely had the needed impact. And upon going to the hospital, we see the man is, in fact, Bloodworth. Again, played by Tony Todd.
But my friends call me JB. I've been waiting for you, Stefani. Charlie, Darlene. But no Howard, no Julia.
Okay, so this really is the best way to end his career. Not only do we find out he's actually on death's list himself, but the reason is because he was the kid in the intro that Iris tried to save. Obviously we knew that kid had to mean something, the connection here is genius, and you really can't ignore how poetic this is. As you probably know, he was in fact dying at this time for real of stomach cancer, and the line he gives at the end was entirely improvised to give him a final goodbye.
Life is precious. Enjoy every single second. You never know when. Good luck.
Really don't expect any kind of emotion in this movie, but damn, what a perfect send-off. He does also tell them the methods to avoid death, such as the 5th movie's method, killing somebody to take their life, but they all agree that would be wrong, so it's the 2nd movie's method that somebody actually pulled off. I like how they mention Kimberly by name too. If you don't know, the method is flatlining and being brought back to life. That will break the cycle, but I do question why Iris and Bloodworth didn't try that. It does explain that it's risky, but what do you have to lose? So now we get what some may call the best death in the movie, but I don't really agree. The plan is to make Bobby flatline utilizing his peanut allergy. Given they're in the hospital, it shouldn't be too hard. Credit to not advertising Reese's. But given Eric obviously believes it now, you would think he'd not keep messing with the vending machine, or have Bobby stand under it, and ignore the MRI machine that's clearly on for no reason. A bit of blatant stupidity going on here. And yes, Eric does actually die despite not being on the list, and I did see that coming. Don't get me wrong, it's a real cool scene. His piercings being ripped off, being impaled by a wheelchair and sucked in. It would be the movie's best death, but I can't get past the logic. Not to mention the excuse they'll soon give. Apparently it's because he got in the way of Death's plan. I guess I buy that, despite being kind of a new thing. But overall, despite Eric easily being the best character, his relevancy is questionable. Boy, will some people not like that take. Bobby, of course, dies too, thanks to the vending machine they fucked with. Maybe stop showing us bad effects up close. And one family down, one to go. Oh, and look, logs. I'll assume you get it. And they decide the best course of action is to hide Darlene in the fortified house and stall the cycle. Unfortunately, the house Iris lived in for years doesn't work as well for them. They really should have prioritized Darlene, but it's too late for that. And due to a jammed seatbelt, it would seem Stefani is about to drown. Meaning, yes, it's the 2nd movie's ending. Charlie doing the whole lifeguard thing revives her, and I don't think the movie really does enough here to justify the same idea. Not that it's really the same idea, because just assuming she was dead is kinda stupid. A bit later, the penny that's been stalking them gets stuck in the train track, a familiar train track, and...
You know you make me want.
the most ridiculous ending of any Final Destination movie. And I love it. It's completely insane, but I don't care. Multiple fatalities, most likely. Who gives a shit? It technically does make sense. Other movies did the same thing. And yes, again, logs. Given they're copying the second movie, the only movie, when the protagonist succeeded, that couldn't fit any better. The effects still aren't great. I don't know if it justifies copying the movie's premise, but it does emphasize the fun tone that defines this film. That's the reason why, despite all my criticism, I still love this movie. Don't get me wrong, it's stupid as hell, more so than most of the other movies, but it's really damn fun. The deaths are fun and creative, the characters, well, Eric is really fun, the show stealer, the rest are just okay. And if a movie about death coming to kill you has all those qualities, then anything else would just be a plus. The issues come down to the plot being nonsensical, making up new rules for this movie. Eric is the best, but his character defines most of these issues. I do find the tattoo shop scene to be very obvious, and a plot hole that could have kind of resolved if they at least explained it was meant to be a warning. I'm a firm believer in you can't do that after the movie comes out. And again, why warn somebody who doesn't care anyway? If anything, it made it more obvious. A lot of these issues are a bit frustrating, they did not need to be there, and believe me, there's an abundance of them. But if you look past that and just enjoy the movie, you can't help but appreciate what they made here. A really enjoyable final entry, the best opening of any of these movies, what the fuck ending you won't soon forget, and a great send-off to Tony Todd. That couldn't have been more perfect. I still prefer Part 5, even though some like the original the most. I don't know why. But even though I did say we didn't need another one of these movies, I'm not complaining that we got one. I think I like it more now post the first time seeing it, as you commonly do. The effects aren't that good, it does copy some old elements, but it's a movie you can't help but enjoy. It's pure and simply a fun time. As stupid as hell, fun time. I'm the analyst, and remember kids, MRI machines are dangerous. Man, very magnetic.